Furious Driving, proud to be supported by Diamond Bright, protecting, cleaning and caring for the Furious fleet and for yours, with 10% off using code FD10. Follow the links in the description below. Hello and welcome to Furious Driving, and let me take you back to the early noughties when, well, there was a strange time when we already had plenty of convertibles, we already had plenty of coupes and we already had plenty of hardtops, but for some reason car manufacturers and designers just decided that we really needed all of those to be in the same place at once. And so we had kind of a plethora of these things, from Peugeot, Vauxhall, and of course this one, arguably the best of all, the Volkswagen EOS. A little while ago I did do the folding hardtop Astra, which, well, it was a good car, but didn't feel anywhere near as, well, nicely put together as this. And case in point, the owner had just paid a significant amount in order to have the roof mechanism fixed and begged me not to push the roof button in case it broke again immediately, which apparently is quite a big issue on those particular Vauxhalls. And I had a lot of comments on people saying, why didn't you put the roof down? It's because it might have broken. This one though, no such worries. It's a Volkswagen. If only everything in life was as reliable as they say. And if you like reviews of interesting and unusual cars, then please do hit like and of course subscribe. Help push us towards that golden 100,000 subscriber mark. We're so close, we can taste it. Well, I can anyway. Now, on with the review. So anyway, so what is this thing? This is the EOS, the Volkswagen EOS. It came out in 2006, it ran for 10 years until 2016. It replaced the Golf Cabriolet, but rather than just doing yet another Cabriolet version of the Golf, as they had done for, I guess, about 30, 40 years at that time, going back to the Mark I Golf, of course. The Mark V, they didn't do that, they did this instead, named after Eos, the Greek god of Canon cameras and apparently the sun. It was always going to be a niche car, and over that decade, worldwide, they sold 231,000 of them. 231,863, if you want to be really, really exact. Now underneath it is a Golf Mark V, of course, but on top it's totally different. And this clever roof really is a masterpiece of innovative, wacky, over-the-top engineering that really didn't need to be done, because honestly it's far too complicated for its own good. It was developed by a company called Oasis, that is the letters Oasis, as in Oasis, which is a subsidiary of Webasto, believe it or not. So this is a Volkswagen with a Webasto sunroof. Who knew? It is, however, the Achilles heel of the car. It does so many things. So the roof really is an ingenious contraption. They call it a 5-piece roof, but in reality, there's probably several hundred components in there. When it's in what I guess you might call its natural state, it's a hardtop coupe, a metal-topped car with a glass sunroof fixed in place. Push one button, it becomes like a sunroof car, which is very nice and very handy. It's either popped up or slide back. Push it further, it's a full open-top convertible. It really is incredibly versatile. So you can have a car for whatever season or reason you want it to be. Now, one thing they don't mention in the brochures though, when the roof is up, it's a nice sturdy coupe-like drive. It feels pretty solid with not much scuttle, shake and rattle. Put the roof down and you really do feel the car flop and wobble about a bit, a lot more in fact. I was surprised. I mentioned this to the owner to ask if he noticed it, and he's like, whoa, yes, feels like the boot's going to fall off. So yeah, that is a thing, very much a thing, because I guess they were planning for it to be driving with the roof up quite a lot of the time. I might have to put the roof up in a second because it's about to tip down with rain. Typical of a Volkswagen, it does feel fairly sturdy on the road. It's got a solid feel to it. You are sitting quite low down with quite high shoulders on the doors and things. So you do feel like you're well enclosed, but even with the roof up, you do have a good glass area. The whole pillarless, frameless thing does mean you have a good view of the world. And I'm driving along here with no wind deflectors, windows up, and I'm not really being buffeted or anything at all. It's quite a nice, pleasant place to be perfectly honest. I've not even got the heater turned up and I'm still quite comfortable. The owner tells me he has got a wind deflector, but it rattles and squeaks like crazy, so it's more annoying than it's worth. And there was a ridiculous number of engines to choose from, a variety of small to large petrols, and of course the insane 3.2 litre VR6 V6, which is just a nutty thing to put into a car with this much scuttle shake. I can't imagine it put down the power with any degree of control at all, but I would love to take one for a ride and find out really what it's like. This one though is the 2 litre TDI, the turbo diesel. Now you might think this is a strange choice for a luxury convertible car where you're really going to hear the engine sound, but don't forget, in the early noughties, diesels were the thing. They were absolutely everywhere. They were tax efficient, cost efficient, MPG efficient. You found a diesel in pretty much anything. When I had that 1.9 PDI Beetle about a year ago, and that, although it was a bit chuggy, suited the car so well. Loads of torque, never used fuel. Lovely little car. Kind of regret selling that one. This is the same kind of deal. Fair enough, you turn up outside somewhere swanky with the roof down, you're trying to look impressive and you've got the chugga 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 sound going on. Not so great, but you've got there using a thimble full of diesel and it just coasts on its torque. Okay, so because it's a pillarless coupe, as we open the doors, the glass drops down to make the door open more easily, and then as we close it again, the glass rises up again to seal into the roof. It's a really, really pretty design. I've got to say, I've always really quite liked these things. The design was done by a guy called Robert Lesnick under Peter Schreier, the head of VW Design. Robert Lesnick you may have come across on previous videos because he did a lot of stuff. So he did the Concept C, which is the concept this car came from. He did the Passat B6. He did the Mercedes W205, my own car basically. He also did a bunch of other Mercedes really, really good looking things, the E-Class and S-Class of the time. He did the GLA because, well, everyone has an off day. And of course he did Mercedes AMG GT, which came out in 2016. So a really good designer throwing all of his toys at the board to make something good stick. I always thought these things looked really good when they came out, but you just don't see them anymore. Rather unfairly, they weren't huge sellers and they're not great survivors either. So let's have a look around. It is a bizarre combination of characteristics. It's a coupe convertible, sunroof equipped cabrio hardtop thing. The only thing it isn't is an off-road estate, and it might even be aquatic, who knows. It is of course based on the Mark V Golf platform, but there's not a single shared panel on the car. It's all unique metalwork, making the thing stand out and be interesting and, well, a bit unique, well, a lot unique. Compared to the Golf, it's a bit more curvy, a bit more swoopy, a bit more interesting and exotic. We've got these long frameless glass windows, and of course when you put all four windows down, it becomes an open pillarless coupe, which is fantastic when you're in that stage of the car's evolution into a convertible. This thing does everything, as I say. I think the roof is probably the most interesting part of this car. So let's have a quick look at that before the rain comes, because British summer. Okay, I'm going to start the engine because this is going to take a lot of oomph out of the battery to do this. First of all, as I'll show you in the walk around in a second, we have got a single button which drops all four windows at once, which is nice. I can talk to you again. Look, frameless pillarless doors, amazing, like going back to a 1960s or 50s American luxury car. Then above, I've got multiple options. I've got a manually retracting sunshade, so I can have this as a dark roof to keep the sun off if I want. I can open up, and this glass section just here can be a proper sunroof. And of course, so with this small sub button in the middle of the big button for opening the roof, I can push that a little bit, and I've got a pop-up roof. That's stage one. Stage two, keep pushing it, that goes all the way back. So I've got kind of like a Targa effect going on, like on a Porsche or a Rover 200. Exotic car. It's always one thing to be aware of. You don't have to have your finger on the button all the time for it to keep working. But if that's not enough sunshine and fresh air for you, we go the whole hog. Let's close this up, push the big chrome button in the centre, or satin rather than chrome, it is Volkswagen in the early noughties. Starting with all four windows closed, push the button, all four windows drop, and Volkswagen were very proud of the fact this only took 25 seconds, which admittedly does feel like a lifetime when you're stood here with your finger on the button. And it's proper theatre going on right now. It's somewhere between Thunderbird's Argo, a 1950s Thunderbird, Heath Robinson. It is theatre. Here a little ping, and we've now got the convertible top open. We've now got a fully open car. Isn't that exciting? To put all that up again though, same button, just push it the other way, or pull it I should say, and everything happens in reverse. Here motors whirring, things are flapping open. Isn't it fun? 25 seconds later we've got ourselves a hardtop car again. There are apparently 15 sensors in this, so if it detects any kind of fingers in the way, it will stop all of a sudden rather than decapitate you like you're in a Cybertruck. However, that is also the downfall of the car, because if any of those sensors pack up, the entire car stops working, or at least the roof section does, and you've got yourself a bit of a heavy white elephant. That's why you don't see so many of them around, perhaps. Well, now we've got the roof open, let's take a look around the interior. And it does look a very nice interior indeed. It's typical Volkswagen of the early noughties. It's a very clean, Germanic, simple design, but very elegant at the same time. Less is more kind of an approach. So starting with the door card, I don't know if it's actual leather or pleather. I think it's probably not real leather. Here in the arm just there. Got a nice satin chrome effect door handle, nice and solid feeling. Got the central locking just there. We've got the 4 electric windows, and of course, as I mentioned, we've got the big single button that does all 4 windows at once. Really, really handy on a pillarless, frameless car like this. Got a decent sized cubby hole down there. Really, it's actually wide enough to take a full iPhone. Door speaker just there, and some kind of ventilation as well, apparently. And climbing inside, or looking inside, we have got, well, this car certainly benefits from the lighter interior. Instead of being the dark, drab space it could be, this is a really, really attractive light space. The nice cream leather seats, nice support, good bolsterage going on to keep us in the seats and the twisties. Deep bolsters here as well. It's a typical early noughties Volkswagen design again, quite square, quite solid shapes. Curiously, it's an all-manual seat apart from this bolster and lumbar support down here on the bottom, which no one ever works out how to do. It definitely benefits from the lighter colour in here, because even with the roof up, it does feel just so much more light and airy. Starting on the far side, this little bits of wood accent, it may be a little bit incongruous in a Golf, but here in the EOS, it kind of works because we're going a bit more at market in this car. We've got this lovely design in the door, which you probably don't even notice as you look at it, but the cream colour element swoops down, cuts down at an angle, and the darker plastic part raises up, and there's a twist in the plastic. One angle comes down from the front, one angle comes down from the back, and they meet and they cross, and it's a really, really pleasing little bit of sculpture just there, which is probably ignored by 97% of people who sit in this car, but I think it looks absolutely lovely. Moving in front of me, we've got an excellent tee shelf. I guess they know people are going to be taking a car like this out for a country weekend drive to the seaside. They're going to be picnicking in this thing, let's face it. So we've got great tee shelf area just there. Everything runs down to a groove just there, so you will be destroying your HVAC system, but you won't get wet knees if you spill your cup of tea. And those interesting bisecting lines, they go up and meet this curve just as well. So it's one continuous, contiguous even, piece of design which goes all the way around the cabin. I love that. Of course, this is all black, plasticky stuff across whatever colour you spec the interior to be, but below that we've got the light cream of the interior. We've got the light wood as well, which carries on down here into the centre console as well. This big ashtray area down here, and typical of VW in the noughties, it's very, very simple. They've kept it really quite minimalistic, but with enough buttons being that time of the century to be actually useful and practical. You don't need stuff buried in screens. You can kind of see how even this far back Volkswagen were kind of desperate to put as much things hidden away so you couldn't see them as possible, which went way too far with the ID3 to the point that people are now just running and screaming from Volkswagen products, or even not bothering to look at Audi and Seat products in case they've got the same dashboard layout control and buttons, so they've really hurt themselves with that. But here we've got dual zone climate, and of course being the early noughties, we've got this kind of pixelated display giving you the temperature readout just here. But as I say, dual zone aircon, heated seats, looks really, really cool. This isn't the original radio, but it is a later VW group radio which gives you CarPlay and so forth. I always think it looks like Wall-E from the Disney film. There's air vents in the centre. I've said that now, you probably won't be able to not see that again. Hazard lights for a nose just there. Moving into the dashboard binnacle itself, 2 big dials for the rev counter and the speedometer, and 2 small sub dials, and of course more basic LCD, red layout like in an Alfa Romeo in the same kind of time period. This was cutting edge back then. We were very excited by this kind of stuff 20 odd years ago because we hadn't had it before. But it is simple and elegant, really nice typography, it's crisp, clear font to read, nice simple needle, everything just looks so good and so easy to use and to read. Moving back, we do have a certain amount of parts bin stuff. We've got the Volkswagen parts bin stalks for the indicators, wipers, that's cruise control on that one as well, I believe. Parts bin steering wheel, nice chunky leather thing which feels good in your hand. You've got your audio and telephone and what have you controls on there, and of course more parts bin stuff down here. You've seen it in every VW, Skoda, etc. for many years. headlight control and headlight dippy control as well. All good stuff. We even have one of my favourite car features of all, the pistol pocket, the little pocket that sits above your driver's knee, so you can store little oddments down there. So good. Now, a bit like on the Audi TT, this little borrowed design just here, you've got the grab handles either side of the centre console, so if you've got a nervous passenger or you're really throwing it around the twisties, you can cling on just there for dear life, which is also good. I've got a number of blank buttons just there, but then we won't worry about that. Nice bit of satiny chrome stuff here as well surrounding. This is a 6-speed DSG. For preference, I would go with the 6-speed manual every time, but this is the 6-speed DSG in this car. And we've got a proper handbrake, thank goodness. 2 cup holders and a mini cup holder in the centre, and all important, these are those twin buttons I mentioned. This is the small button for the centre sunroof, and this is the big control for the soft top itself. And thankfully, leather clad and lovely, matching the seats, we've got ourselves a proper manual handbrake. Now, climbing into the back, the driver's seat, fortunately, after you slide it forward, will slide back into the position you had it in. Climb in, quite easy to do when there's no roof on the car. It is really quite snug. It's only a 4-seater. You couldn't do 5 people in here, even if you tried. It's 2 bucket seats here on the bench. You've got kind of a padded armrest, twin speakers, bit of padding just there, but it is properly tight back here, so you wouldn't really want to be going very far on that. You've also got a lockable hatch through to the boot with what looks like an emergency release, possibly for the fuel filler. Now you get into the boot with the VW badge. That's pretty common across the range. Now, we have got something of an issue when it comes to the boot on a folding hardtop convertible, because all that big metalwork's got to go somewhere to keep those lovely crisp lines when the roof goes down. When this car's got the roof up, it's a 300-litre boot. When the roof goes down, that goes down somewhat to 190. There is this little carpeted plastic tub just here, which is your safe area for putting things in. And that's not very big, and it's quite tight to get things in. So you do have to be very aware of how much space you've actually got when you load your car. And if you're planning a weekend road trip away, do tell your passengers to pack light if you're planning on putting the roof down. And also be careful you don't use a rear screen glass to put anything sharp or heavy on, because that will shatter. That'd be a bad thing. Incidentally, this doesn't have a power folded thingy to close the boot, but if you touch it down, it sucks it down mechanically. So it's an interesting combination of luxury and not luxury just there. You slam it, then it does it automatically. Who knew? Under the bonnet, there was a plethora of power units on offer. There was a 1.4 and a 1.6 TSI. There's a 2-litre FSI, a 2-litre TSI turbo, and incredibly, the 3.2-litre V6, which was insane in a car like this. There was also, of course, the 2-litre diesel, which we find just here. You could probably hear it in the previous bit of driving work. Power outputs from those different engines ranged from 122 to 260 horsepower, so there's something for everyone in there really, isn't there? Whether you want speed, economy, or insane handling that the car can't cope with, there's something in there for you. Now, the car was first shown as the Concept C concept car at Geneva in 2004, and then revealed to the world as a production-ready car at Frankfurt in 2006, and later that same year at the LA show for the American market. And it was really well received, and did you see that scuttle shake just then? My word. Although it was spread around the world well, it wasn't for every single market. It was sold across Europe, it was sold across America, Japan, and then Australia and New Zealand. It didn't go literally everywhere, just a lot of key markets got it. But the thing was, it was very much doing what Volkswagens are meant to do, which is be a slightly premium level of car. And that roof took a certain amount of extra dedication to keep it working properly. Everything needs to be so precisely aligned to make it work right. Otherwise it doesn't fold properly, and it doesn't steel properly either. In fact, roof leakages were quite a significant problem, to the point they had to do like a bit of an update in 2009 to kind of solve that, and then in 2009-10 the entire car got a big facelift. This is a 2008 model, by the way. The 6-speed DSG does sort of snap between the gears quite happily. It's quite a smooth thing. It's less involving and less fun than the 6-speed manual would be, because that's actually quite a nice gearbox, that Volkswagen Group 6-speed manual. This is smooth, it does the trick, and if you're after a lazy cruiser, then it's the one to go for. Well, so thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this car in the comments. It's a car I've been really keen to test for quite a long time, because I used to see them around quite a bit, but they just suddenly vanished from view, and I haven't seen one in a really long time. So when I saw this one, I was very, very keen to get out and give the thing a go and see what the car was actually like. And basically, it's like a Volkswagen, but a bit floppier. That's my short answer, but it's got the typical Volkswagen, good looking but not showing off kind of a vibe going on. So if you like that kind of thing, it's the car for you. I think it's a pretty cool thing myself. If you've enjoyed this, please hit like and subscribe, and join me again next time driving something completely different.